You are very welcome. We're going to look at anxiety and worry, what causes them, and most importantly, how we can reduce them in our lives. And in order to do that, we're going to take a brief look at emotions. And emotions play an important part of the human experience. We feel a variety of different things, and being able to put a label on these feelings is helpful to increase our awareness of them and our understanding of ourselves. And we gain that understanding by labelling our emotions. Emotions cause us to have feelings that also can be felt in our bodies. And some emotions are low energy and some are high energy. So let's take a moment to look at different emotions. And this is our mood meter, and you can see the ones on the top in red and yellow. These are the high energy emotions. These are the emotions that make our body want to move. So when we're feeling enthusiastic and energized and lively and irritated and angry and nervous and restless, all of these make us want to move. And then the low energy ones, well, they probably make us want to stay in bed and pull the duvet over our head if we're feeling lonely or glum or calm or restful. And these emotions, and knowing them and being able to label them, give us a better understanding of what they are and allowing them to pass through our body pretty quickly. And just looking at emotions here, there are lots, and I mean lots, of different emotions. But today we're just going to look at some of the core ones. And there are theories around emotions that help us to organise different emotions and help us to understand how those emotions relate to each other. The best known of these theories is called the Discrete or basic model of emotion, and it was used in the movie Inside Out. And if you've seen that movie, you'll remember there was joy, sadness, fear, anger and disgust. And today we're really going to be taking that closer look at fear. And fear is a high activation. This means we respond to it really quickly. So as soon as we notice it, there's a response. And it's avoidance motivated. This means it makes it uncomfortable for us to feel, and we try to get away from it. We would class it as a negative emotion that we feel in response to a threat or a perceived threat. So the threat may not actually be there, we just think it is. And the fear-related list of emotions are worried, nervous, anxious, scared, panicked, and stressed. Both worry and anxiety are a sense of concern. We're concerned about something that has happened or something that might happen. Worry tends to be specific about one thing or event, and anxiety tends to be a little bit more general. So if we just think about some of the common things that we worry about: going to the dentist, flying, taking a test. Well, if we look at taking a test, we're worried about the test. But then we can also be anxious about the things that surround the test in general. Where will I be sitting? Will I get there on time? What if my pen breaks? Who am I going to be sitting beside? Will I have enough time? What if I need to go to the bathroom? How will I get home? All of these questions can come up and makes us feel anxious. And the good news is we can be worried and anxious at the same time. Not so good. We tend to experience worry in our heads. So we think about it, and we tend to experience anxiety in our bodies. Our palms can get sweaty, we maybe need to pace up and down, and we can have butterflies or uncomfortable feeling in our stomach. So we're going to learn a little bit more why we experience anxiety and worry. And this little video teaches us about the fight and flight and freeze response.
You know what anxiety feels like. We all do. Everyone experiences anxiety in some way or another. It's something that connects all of us together. Why we feel anxiety and what it really is, that may surprise you. Without anxiety, we'd all be in serious trouble. As soon as your brain senses you're in danger, a little piece of it, called the amygdala, kicks in. It gets your body ready to react. That could mean fight, run away, or shut down. It's called the fight, flight, or freeze response. This reaction goes back millions of years to our distant animal ancestors. Animals whose amygdalae were more sensitive to danger were more likely to stay alive and off the menu. Over millions of generations, this developed into the system we all know as anxiety. So you see, anxiety itself is not all bad. But when there's no immediate life or death threat, and your amygdala keeps telling your body that you're in danger, that's when anxiety becomes a problem. Your amygdala doesn't know the difference between getting eaten and public speaking or failing a test. Human society has only existed for a relatively short time. It's messy and complicated and confusing, and our amygdalae just haven't had time to catch up. So sometimes, when we're in uncomfortable situations, our brains misread the risk and overreact. Our hearts beat faster and we breathe heavily, pulling more oxygen into our bodies. The muscles in our arms and legs tense up and fill with blood. Our skin perspires to cool us down. This would all be great if we needed to fight or run, but instead, we just feel tense and sweaty. Sometimes our minds go blank and we feel like we can't move or talk. That would be great if we needed to hide. Instead, we just feel stuck. When things trigger our anxiety, sometimes we try to avoid them, like our ancestors avoiding a predator. But that can cause problems when those triggers are important parts of life, like going to school or meeting new people, things that won't just give up and go away. So how does knowing all this help? Well, it starts with remembering what's really going on. There's nothing physically wrong with you. It's just your amygdala trying to tell you it thinks you're in danger, even if it gets confused about how much danger you're really in. Understanding why we feel anxiety is an important step in learning to manage it.
So what is worry like? So after looking at it, we really want to know what the feelings and the emotions are. And it's knowing these that allow us to recognize them and let them pass. It helps us to let go of them. So feelings of nervousness, worry, fear, and then something called catastrophizing, where we make it worse than it already is. So we could feel panic or doom. If we're continually thinking about events from the past or worrying about the future. If we're expecting this worst case scenario. We feel maybe irritable and agitated. We could have difficulty concentrating. We could have difficulty falling asleep. We may not want to be with our family or our friends, but are happier on our own. And our mind keeps going back to the concern, to the worry, to the stress. And we could even culminate in panic attacks. The physical signs of this can be digestive issues, rumbling tummy, feeling like you can't eat, having to go to the bathroom a lot or not being able to go at all. You could have heart racing or palpitations, feel sweaty and dizzy. We may need to go to the bathroom. We could have tightness in our shoulders and in our muscles. Insomnia, not being able to sleep. We could end up feeling trembling and shaking with shortness of breath, and basically our body feels very uncomfortable. So these are not nice feelings and they're not nice physical emotions. But the good news is that we can build up habits and practices and use tips and techniques in order for us to reduce how we experience anxiety and help us to prevent worrying. And Clanbeat have 11 different strategies for us to try out. We can try them out, we can practice them, we can create ways of coping, and we can use these tools and techniques. And I would advise you strongly to try these out when you're feeling calm. because then you've tried it and you know what to expect. When you're feeling anxious and something's unfamiliar, it may not be a great help, but if you've already seen it and you've tried it out and you know what to expect, it can be extra calming. Some of the ones that we use are an instant kind of quick fix. Others are practices that we build up over time. And they should be able to help us build our self-esteem and our feeling of self-worth and put some distance between us and those negative thoughts. And that allows us to see them for what they are, just thoughts. And the first thing I'm going to ask you to do before you try any of these is to ask yourself, are you actually in danger? If you are, remove yourself to a safe place and get out of that situation immediately. If it's perceived danger, let's try some of the techniques. And one of the things students have asked is, what's going to work for me? And really, it depends on the individual, it depends on the time, it depends on the situation. Sometimes something will work and sometimes it won't. Sometimes you'll like something, sometimes you won't. So the best thing to do is to really go through them and see what it is that suits you in this moment. And there's ones you can listen to, like meditations and affirmations and breathing exercises. There's information you can read that gives you techniques to support you moving through the fearful thoughts. And then there's actions you can do, which is moving, planning, exercising and tapping techniques. And I would suggest that you pick one every day for the next 2 weeks and give it a try. And some of them will feel silly, some of them may feel good, some of them may feel even uncomfortable at times, but it's definitely worth trying. However, if your anxiety affects your daily life, please speak with the school counsellor or the doctor about your symptoms. Many of us need support and expertise of a therapist to help manage these symptoms. This is perfectly normal. If the tools and the techniques within our app are ineffective or add to your distress, this does not mean that you have done anything wrong. It just means that you might benefit from another type of support. So we're looking at managing our anxiety. So to prevent or manage your worrying and anxious thoughts. And we want to build healthy habits by taking care of ourselves. Sleep, food and exercise. We want to move, take action. Our body's response is to high energy, move, let that energy through and out the other side. We want to take some inspiration and guidance, and we do that through reading some of those in the app. The next set of techniques are grounding techniques. They make us feel present and safe in the moment that we are in. We use emotional freedom technique, or tapping as it's called, and it uses acupressure points and positive psychology. We have guided meditations for you to listen to when you just need to take some time out. We have breathing techniques which rest your body's responses, and these deep breath techniques can really help lower your cortisol levels and make you feel calmer, and they're great to use before going into a stressful situation like an exam. Then we have support. We have tools that give you advice. We have support in terms of getting you somebody that you can talk to. And we have tools that you can build support for yourself by noticing and reflecting. Finally, we have ways of looking at changing our thinking to make it healthier. And we rewire our thinking through positive affirmations that will repeat over and over again. We look at taking a different view. Is there another way we can look at something that we can't control? And we listen and pay attention to what our body is telling us. It's often the first indicator that we're feeling stressed or worried. And just remember that if you ever need to ask for help, it is probably the bravest thing that you will do. And be brave and take that step, and do ask for help. Ask the school nurse, ask a teacher that you trust, ask your GP, speak to your parents. Often when we talk about something, sharing it makes it so much better. Enjoy your journey, and thank you for paying attention.